When the Son of Man comes in his glory, all the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them one from another. Then the King will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, for I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer, "Lord, when did we do these things?" The King will reply, "Whatever you did for those of the least of my brothers of mine, you did for me." Then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, for I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me." They also will answer, "Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty, or a stranger, or needing clothes, or sick or in prison, and did not help you?" He will reply, "Whatever you did not do for those of the least of these, you did not do for me." As a senior in high school, I fully expected to be asked to write a sermon, but that still does not mean I was prepared. And I don't mean it like I don't think I can write a couple hundred words based on a question or idea. That's reasonable. The issue for which I am not prepared for is providing you with such knowledge and wisdom that it brings you closer to Jesus and makes your faith stronger. Throughout high school, I knew this day would come. I knew eventually I would have to get up in front of those I worshiped with and lead them in worship. And I thought to myself, how can I stand here and try to mimic the words of our pastors and the Lord? How can I live up to such a standard that Jesus has set for me? What words do I use, and how do I phrase them? What scriptures should I use? Then I received my question, the driving point for my sermon. Who do you say that I am? My initial thought was Jesus is our example. But how do I turn just a few words into a sermon? So I pondered further. Who do you say that I am? The question repeated. Then I thought of this scenario. I imagined Jesus standing in front of me, asking, "Who do you say that I am?" After a multitude of ideas came to mind, I ultimately thought, "You are all that you have taught me. And still, how can I think of words to reflect the greatness of Jesus?" Then I went back to my scenario, Jesus still in front of me, and I asked him, "Who do you say that you are?" And this short burst of curiosity brought me here. Can I do Jesus more justice than his own words? In John 14, verse 6, Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to my Father except through me." In John 10, verse 9, he says, "I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved, and he will go in and out and find pasture." John 8, verse 12, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall not walk in darkness, but have the light of life." In these verses, I found my answer. Jesus is our leader. He is our example. He is the ultimate example. Through his actions and words, he shows us that through him is the way to heaven. He says he is the door we must go through. He is the way. He is the light. Then, reflecting on my life, I realized that I've always thought of him in this way. Even earlier today, just a few moments ago, I said, how can I live up to such a standard that Jesus has set? Now, I'm not going to stand here and say that Jesus is our example and that is all, because he is much more than that. I read you 3 verses, but there are many more. He is our protector. He is our provider. He is our friend. So I want to leave you with this. If Jesus stood in front of you and asked you this simple question, who do you say that I am? How will you answer? Amen.